Hello and welcome to New Mexico Rising. My name is Dan. As you might know, I like to find the who's who from all across the country and bring them on to this show so we can talk about cool things that you can do to help out yourself or even New Mexico. And for example, this week I went to the top a couple of times. Yes, I got the CEO of Habitat for Humanity to talk to us about how we could help out putting neighbors in homes. Second, I have the CEO of the National Safety Council, Lorraine Martin, on the show, talking about how we can stay safe this summer. And the Executive Vice President and Chief Policy Officer and Head of Strategic Advocacy for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is going to be on our show today as well. And that's what we do right here on New Mexico Rising. But did you know June marks National Alzheimer's Brain Awareness Month, which provides an opportunity to reflect on the importance of brain health and help raise awareness for a disease that affects millions of Americans nationwide. There's an estimated 6.7 million Americans aged 65 and older who live with Alzheimer's dementia, and that population, almost half or more, will develop agitation in Alzheimer's dementia. While many are aware what Alzheimer's disease is, they may not be so familiar with the signs and symptoms of agitation, which is critical to maintaining an effective treatment plan. But right now we have Dr. George Grossberg joining us to provide key insights on this complex condition. How are you doing, Dr. Grossberg?
Good. Nice to be with you, Dan.
All right. Can you provide some background on agitation in Alzheimer's dementia?
Yeah, so thank you for asking. I think when we all consider Alzheimer's disease, we're thinking about a brain disease that affects memory and overall kind of cognitive or brain functions, and that's all true. But we often don't think about the serious and impactful behavioral or neuropsychiatric symptoms that can accompany the disease. And one of those, and one of the most distressing ones for family members and care partners, is agitation, which can really vary from kind of mild irritability to more overtly agitated behaviors, which can be verbal, screaming, yelling, cursing, and so on, to even more physical, or we call it motoric behaviors, where you have kind of aggressive pacing or wandering or kicking or even overtly striking out at the care partners or the family. And of course, this can be very distressing and is one of the leading causes of the family kind of giving up and thinking about placing their loved one in either a memory care or assisted living or in a nursing home.
So how can caregivers and patients become more empowered to manage this complex condition?
So the notion of empowerment, which is a good one, really starts with the idea that the family or the care partners, when they go visit their healthcare provider, always need to make sure that they tell, her or him about this symptom and how troubling and how impactful it is. Healthcare providers, myself included, we're all very, very busy. Sometimes they're not asking about behavior change. And if indeed you're having this agitated behavior, the healthcare provider needs to know, needs to have the details.
So as a healthcare provider, what treatments do you recommend for patients and caregivers facing agitation?
We discuss a range of treatments, with the family, with the care partner, everything from medications or non-medication related interventions. We always start with giving more education to the family and to the care partner about what they can do to not make the irritability or agitation worse. Are there things that they're doing that are triggering agitation and things that they can stop doing that will make it better? We also talk a lot about the environment. Is it too noisy? Is it too complicated? Is it too stimulating? Can we make it less stimulating, less complicated? Can we introduce meaningful activities? Things, for example, like music therapy, soothing music, or therapeutic touch, massage, or aromatherapy, or having a session with the family album, reminiscence therapy, or having a session doing coloring, or other things that are relaxing and meaningful.
Dr. Grossberg, thank you for joining me this morning. Where can we go for more information?
Okay, so there's a great website. I'm going to go over it with you. It's called Managing Agitation in ALZ, that's all one long word, managing agitation and ALZ.com. A lot of practical, hands-on, very useful information is there.
Well, thank you for joining me this morning, Dr. Grossberg.
Thank you.
As the summer heat starts to rise, the risk of heat-related illnesses for those who have to spend their days outside creates a risk that might be dangerous. So tackling that problem in performance athletic wear that can not only save your life if you're on the job, camping, or just taking a leisurely stroll in our desert climate is Mission co-founder Chris Valletta, here to talk about ways that they're creating a real-world solution, helps keep those safe outdoors. Welcome to the show, Chris. How are you, bud?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's start things off. You're a former NFL player. Why was creating wearable cooling gear that keeps people cool vital to you?
Because it's the difference oftentimes between winning and losing. You know, as an athlete, the elite athletes certainly look for every single edge in their performance, whether that's nutrition or strength training or the likes. We found back in really 2009 when we started this brand that cooling, actually helping keep yourself feeling cooler throughout the course of your athletic activity, not only contributed to being more comfortable, being more safe, but it also attributed to improving your performance. And at that level, you know, it's a game of inches. It could mean the difference between winning and losing. But when you take that full circle to everyone who lives in the heat or may play in the heat or work in the heat, the difference between, you know, staying cool and not could be a safety concern. And so that's why we started a mission, which was prove that we could make wearable cooling innovations for the most elite athletes in the world and then bring those innovations to the masses for anyone. Whether you're 5 years old playing soccer, whether you're 90 years old speed walking in Florida, or whether you're one of the 30 million laborers in the United States who work in hot conditions.
So, like, how are companies just like UPS preparing workers who have to work in extreme heat?
It's a great question. UPS is taking a significant leadership position in understanding how heat safety fits into the overall safety mechanism of the company. You know, safety is the most important thing at UPS. And having now been inside the four walls of some of the biggest companies in the world, oil and gas companies, airlines, steel manufacturers, it's incredible to see what a company like UPS has done to really look at it holistically in 360 degrees, not just what goes physically on the body of the worker, but also what's behind it. How can we inform a hydration status? How can we surround this employee with a holistic approach to cooling and sun protection and hydration? So UPS has partnered with Mission. They partnered with our science and research firm at the Corey Stringer Institute at UConn. That's like the preeminent leaders in heat safety. And it's really to put the employees in this ecosystem of heat safety, ultimately making happier employees, more comfortable employees, but again, getting them home in the same or better condition than when they left.
Do you expect more companies to start partnering with you? And who out there is on the forefront of recognizing that need and like looking for solutions for their employees?
You know, again, I applaud UPS for the leadership role they've taken and really creating the blueprint for what we believe will be the standard across the board within the next 2 to 3 years. But major airlines, and as I mentioned, steel manufacturers and oil and gas and logistics companies that have, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees that work in hot conditions have recognized that, geez, I'm already buying, you know, hats and uniforms for my employees. Why wouldn't I put them in technology that can help them feel cooler and be more safe in the heat and in those conditions? And so we're working with several companies across the world, as well as providing these products to consumers all over the United States.
Well, thank you for joining me, Chris. As we all now know, it's cool to be cool. Where can we go for more information, my friend?
You can go to mission.com. You can check out, obviously the product innovations, but you can learn more about some of the science and research behind cooling through our partnership with the Corey Stringer Institute.
Well, thanks for joining me here this morning.
Thank you, Dan.
And coming up a little later, we have the CEO of Habitat for Humanity to chat with us and the CEO of the National Safety Council. Two different stories and conversations. It's all right here on New Mexico Rising. June is National Safety Month. And with the summer upon us, it's a good time to talk about what risks we face this time of year. During the next few months, safety issues to pay attention to include heat-related illnesses, traffic crashes, overdoses, and more. Whether at work, on the road, at home, or anywhere in between, staying educated on identifying and preventing risks to your health and well-being is pretty much essential. And today we have Lorraine Martin, President and CEO of the National Safety Council, here to talk about it. Lorraine, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Dan.
All right, we got the first question. Why are the summer months a critical time to discuss safety and all of the stuff surrounding it?
Well, Dan, it's critical to be aware of safety issues in our lives all the time. A lot of your listeners may not know that preventable injuries, things we can do something about in our lives, are the fourth leading cause of death in the U.S. And the summer months, for various reasons, make that a higher risk. Some of it has to do with the fact that we're out and about and doing things that we might not do during the rest of the year. And in most parts of our nation, it can get pretty hot. And heat illness becomes a very big concern and a very big focus for us to make sure that we can do the things we love with the folks we love and make sure that we don't succumb to heat illness. It's a really, really important thing that takes hundreds of lives every year.
So what type of hazard should we be looking for at this time?
Yeah, it's mostly being in heat, whether that is in your own life or at work, because many of the folks, their jobs are outside during the hot summer months, and they're having to do the things that they do all year long, but in very, very, high-risk environments. The thing that's most important is to have a buddy, making sure that you're looking out for each other to see those signs of heat illness, of seeing someone struggling, of perhaps getting to a place where you know that they're not on their norm. And important to do is to take action. And that action is pretty simple. It's making sure you rest while you're out in the heat, that you get liquids and hydrate and get into the shade and wear sunscreen. The other issue that I'll point out during the summer months and really any time that it's hot is this issue of perhaps kids being in hot cars. And that could be that they got left there just for a few minutes because someone ran in to do something, or that they got forgotten totally by accident, or that they just climbed into a car that was left unattended. 40 kids lose their lives on average in our nation because of hot cars during the summer. So it's really important to stay vigilant and make sure no one or no pet, no one is left in a car during the summer months unattended.
So how can heat or issues such as heat-related illness or traffic crashes be prevented?
Well, a lot of that has to do with people. It has for us to take action to make sure we know how to keep ourselves safe and take those actions and change our behavior. On our roads, we know what it is to be safe. It means to drive with your seatbelt. It means to drive without distraction, with making sure you're not impaired and making sure that you're driving the speed limit. We know what keeps us safe. We also know what kills. And those are the things that when we forget to do those things or we take them for granted, that unfortunately we lose a life.
And can you share how viewers can be safety heroes this summer?
Yeah, thank you for that. Everyone's a safety hero. And everyone has a safety story. Unfortunately, we all know someone who has been either injured or worse, lost their life. And by telling our stories, we can be heroes. By setting examples, we can be heroes. So you can get lots of materials at nsc.org to help you set that example. But you can also share your story at safetyispersonal.org. You can also share your personal story about being a safety hero on our hashtag #SafetyIsPersonal on social media. Storytelling is a great way to inform, to provide those tips of what we should have done, could have done, and must do going forward, and truly can save a life.
Thank you, Lorraine, for joining me this morning. One more time, where can we go for more information?
nsc.org, Dan.
Thanks for joining me this morning. In the United States, there's a shortage of workers that has emerged as a notable factor contributing to, persistent inflation and higher interest rates. However, there is a little optimism among business leaders and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce that By securing our borders and modernizing the immigration system, we can effectively tackle these challenges. So today, we have Neil Bradley, the Executive Vice President and Chief Policy Officer and Head of Strategic Advocacy at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, here to give us a little insight. Welcome to the show, Neil. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Dan. It's great to be with you today.
All right, so how is the worker shortage affecting business?
Well, so let's think about it this way. In New Mexico, for every 100 open jobs that businesses have put out that help wanted sign for, there are only 72 people looking for work. So we have no way to fill all of these open jobs. What it means is manufacturers can't meet demand. Construction companies, landscapers can't meet demand because they don't have enough workers. You know, we see it visibly when we go into a restaurant and part of it's closed because they just don't have enough staff. But it's even occurring in our healthcare facilities and our senior living centers. Anywhere you go today, we just lack the workers to meet demand.
So what is the solution that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is offering to help with this situation?
So we have to do a little bit of all of the above. So we need to make it easier for working parents to access affordable childcare. For those who've paid their debts to society, the informally incarcerated, make it easier for them to get to work. But we also have to reform our legal immigration system, and that goes hand in hand with fixing the broken border, the unsecure border. If we can do those two things, we can really modernize the system and help meet our workforce demands.
So how will a modern pro-growth immigration system help address the common workforce issues plaguing American employers today and other economic problems that we're suffering from?
Let me give you two quick examples. Right now, every year, we just celebrate college graduation. We have hundreds of thousands of people who come to the United States to go to college. They pay full freight. They sit next to your sons and daughters, my neighbors. And when they finish school, most of them want to remain in the United States. But we tell 90% of them, thanks, but no thanks, you got to leave. Well, they're going to Canada and Australia and the United Kingdom and helping build their economies. We can fix that. In the same way, if you happen to be a landscape company or a technology firm, your ability to get the workers that you need literally comes down to winning a lottery. We might have 9 requests for workers, but only 1 slot. They literally draw numbers at the federal government to determine whether your business is going to get the workers that they need. If we fix that, businesses would get the workers that they would need. We would have talent that wants to remain and can remain in the United States, and we can support a growing economy.
So what can business owners and their customers do to kind of help out?
Well, Dan, I hope that people will remember that our elected officials, they work for us. And if we ask them to fix a problem, it's their responsibility to do it. So people can go to callingforliberty.org. That's callingforliberty.org. You can see this coalition that we've built to get the job done. You can reach out to your member of Congress and say, hey, we can do this. We're a great country. Let's fix our border and let's fix our broken legal immigration system.
Well, thank you very much, Neil, for hanging out with me this morning. Where can someone go for more information on all of this?
So uschamber.com is our website, uschamber.com. You can learn more about these or issues to help small businesses right there at uschamber.com.
Thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks so much for having me, Dan.
And later, we'll talk to the CEO of Habitat for Humanity and how you can help out people that just need a home. And you probably don't even need to take money out of your pocket. You could probably just go help them build a home. We'll talk about it all right here on New Mexico Rising. You know, June is Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. You know, it's a necessary time to raise awareness and learn more about a migraine. It's a debilitating neurological disease, including a recent FDA approval of an additional preventative treatment option for those living with chronic migraine. And today we have Dr. Hope O'Brien, a neurologist, founder and CEO of Headache Center of Hope, and Kelsi Owens, a working mother living with episodic migraines. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Thank you.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having us.
No problem. All right, I got a question for you. What is migraine and what is the difference between an episodic and a chronic migraine?
So migraine is not just a headache, but it is a disabling, complex neurological disease that affects up to 40 million patients living here in the United States. It's characterized by moderate to severe pain that lasts anywhere between 4 to 72 hours and characterized by symptoms such as light sensitivity, sound sensitivity, nausea, and vomiting. 30% of patients will have a warning sign prior to getting their headaches. And as I mentioned, it can be very disabling, and that's one of the reasons why Kelsi and I are here today partnering with AbbVie, the maker of Qulipta, to raise awareness on an important milestone in migraine. When I talk to patients in terms of frequency of headache days, I try to characterize them into having either episodic migraine, meaning headache days occurring 0 to 14 days per month, or chronic migraine, and that's defined by having 15 or more headache days per month, of which 8 of those days are impacted by migraine.
All right, Kelsi. So how does your disease impact your life, personally, professionally? And I get migraines myself. I get the weird flashy ones where I can't see for a bit, so I can't drive, and sometimes I find myself laying on my floor at my work, and people are like, why are you on the floor? So that's actually honest. So how does it affect your life?
It sounds familiar. I have been living with episodic migraine since I was about 6 years old, so almost 30 years now, and it really impacts every area of my life. I am a mom. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and it's really difficult to explain to her why I can't do really normal things, like take her to the park or a birthday party, or even just get up and make her a snack. And professionally, you know, if I have to step away with very little notice, my team sometimes has to scramble around and push deadlines or move meetings or even take on additional workloads. So it can be really hard to manage.
So what can you tell us about the preventative treatment options for people that are suffering from a migraine?
Yeah, so I have patients who come in that I see every day with stories like Kelsi, and we talk about an option called Qulipta, the only oral CGRP once daily prescription medication indicated for the preventive treatment of both episodic and chronic migraine in adults. Clinical trials have shown that it's safe and effective in reducing the number of migraine days over time. And the most common side effects are nausea, constipation, fatigue, and sleepiness. I also tell patients not to take Qulipta if they have an allergy to any of its ingredients, as it can cause a serious allergic reaction such as anaphylaxis that can occur on the day of taking the medication or days after.
Where can we go for more information and learn more about Qulipta?
I tell patients to talk with their healthcare provider or neurologist or headache specialist, or they can go to Qulipta.com or call 1-855-QLIPTA for more information.
Well, thank you, too, for joining me this morning. Dr. Hope O'Brien, Kelsi Owens, thanks for being part of the show and getting people a little more information about their migraines.
Thank you, Dan.
for having us, Dan.
You're welcome. Thank you. Whether it's a castle, a condo, or a casita, you know, Elvis says home is where the heart is, and there is a documented link between home ownership and improved health. And in observance of a Healthy Homes Month, Habitat for Humanity is teaming up with a longtime partner, Carrier, to call attention to the importance of making our lives and our air and our spaces cool, clean, and safely breathable. So welcome to the show, Jonathan Reckford. He's the CEO of Habitat for Humanity International, and Justin Keppy, president of North America Residential and Light Commercial HVAC for Carrier, who are joining us live from a building site in Indianapolis to give us some tips to making our homes a little healthier. And if you hear saws and all that other good stuff, they're building a house right now. Welcome to the show, you two.
Thanks, Dan. Hey. Great to be with you.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Albuquerque.
All right, Jonathan, can you tell us a little bit about the link between home ownership and health?
Absolutely. It is such a strong connection between healthy housing and healthy outcomes for children especially. And I have met so many moms who were struggling with kids who are constantly going to the doctor, high medical bills, and then they move from a moldy or unhealthy apartment into a healthy home, and no more doctor visits. So a huge positive impact on the children, but also on the financials. So that's a part of, when we think about affordable housing, it also needs to be healthy affordable housing.
So, Justin, how does indoor air quality support health and productivity and just a better lifestyle?
Sure, Dan. So Carrier invests in important research, including that of COG-FX, which is being done by research with Harvard's School of Public Health. And what those researchers have seen is better health and better thinking has been demonstrated by better indoor environments with enhanced filtration and ventilation. Oftentimes, when you think about your indoor environment, you think first to temperature, but it goes on much more than that. You need to think about humidity control. You need to think about filtration, removing particulates, which could cause allergies or other longer-term health impacts. And you think about ventilation.
And how can we prioritize health and safety in both new construction and, renovations?
Sure, I think the first thing is to take a look at Carrier's full suite of Healthy Homes products. We offer a comprehensive list of innovative products from HVAC systems, which provide total home comfort, to security products, which include fire and safety items to enhance the safety of your home. And if you want to learn more about Carrier's offerings, I encourage you to go see Carrier.com to learn about the full suite of offerings.
And how have Habitat and Carrier worked together in the home building process, Jonathan?
So Habitat's really dependent on partners like Carrier to be able to do our work. And Carrier's been helping Habitat since 1995. And when Carrier donates product or their employees come out and build, as you see behind us, that lowers the cost of construction for us. So we're able to build more homes, give more families the chance to realize their dream of home ownership.
And I'm also a big fan of Habitat for Humanity. I've had the local support group here many times on this show. Why is it essential for your company and its employees to support Habitat, Justin?
Yeah, Dan, Carrier really likes working with organizations that can make a positive impact on our local communities, as well as giving our employees the opportunity to dedicate volunteer hours and their talents to making an impact and seeing our products in action. Our partnership with Habitat for Humanity has really been impactful for building stronger communities, and we couldn't be thankful enough.
All right, well, finally, where can our viewers go for more information?
Well, thanks so much, Dan. If you want to get involved, learn more about housing issues, and see how you can be a part of the solution in Albuquerque or in our national or global work, go to habitat.org.
All right, well, thank you, too, for building better communities for both of us, all right?
Excellent.
Thanks
Thank you,
so much,
Dan. Take care.
And that's it for New Mexico Rising. Each and every week I try to bring celebrities and people of influence from all across the country to talk about ways that we could help out and do things cool right here in New Mexico. If you have something you want to talk about, my email is always open, newmexicorising@gmail.com. Send me an email and we could get you talking about your business into the Red Room here, or I could go to your business and highlight it. Or if you have an event, send me a poster or whatnot. It's all right here on New Mexico Rising. I will do that each and every week. I want to thank you for tuning in once again, and I will see you next week right here. Same place, New Mexico Rising.